There are a lot of RPG-centric Minecraft mod packs out there, but how many of them turn the game into Diablo? My name is Neko from Infernal Studios, and this is Guild Adventures. Make sure to like this video and subscribe to the CurseForge channel for more mod pack reviews like this one. Guild Adventures is a particularly unique RPG mod pack that aims to emulate an experience similar to that found in games like Diablo and Path of Exile, utilizing the Dungeons perspective mod made by the pack developer to achieve this. This frames the camera from your conventional first-person view into a 45-degree bird's eye angle, which can be rotated with the scroll wheel. It's a really novel and inventive approach to gameplay that I don't believe I've ever seen used in any other mod pack before. Because it's so inventive though, it of course comes with its own strengths and shortcomings. Giving you total view of your surroundings, Dungeons perspective allows you to see all entities within a fairly wide range, even being so kind as to cull any blocks that would obscure your view, which is very neat. Projectiles like arrows are also viable, as bows snap onto targets, allowing you to aim in third person with relative ease. This far off distance away from your avatar though can also impact character and environmental readability, especially between villages and pillagers in raids, which isn't ideal when a raid is one of the very first quests you're asked to engage in. Oops. Vertical terrain that requires more precision to hop up can also be unideal to navigate in this view. Fortunately, there's a very simple fix to these issues. You can just turn the view off. Not that kind of off.
That's not a hack and slash.
Though you might fear doing this would gimp the uniqueness of the pack, I don't think it does at all, really. In doing this, it gives you a chance to admire how gorgeous the texture packs are, in particular Excalibur doing a lot of the heavy lifting with the blocks and items. It also really puts into perspective just how much faster you move here than in the base game. Beyond that, all melee attacks also thrust you forwards a little bit. Throw that in with the fact that most monsters die rather swiftly, and all these elements combine to create a really fun hack and slash experience that makes you feel pretty freaking strong even when you're not doing anything particularly impressive.
Look ma, I'm Guts from Berserk.
Given this, your new attack options like spells and weapon throwing, and the vast array of weapons you can find, forge, and buy at your disposal, it ends up feeling like
the booziest of beat-em-ups.
Whilst this hack and slash gameplay may be at the core of Guild Adventures, everything around it really reinforces the Western RPG game feel too, even down to the button mappings. Opening the inventory is controlled by I instead of E, opening chat is done with Enter instead of T, and item dropping on a keybind is done away with completely, amidst just how many other keys need to be bound to spell slots instead. The HUD is completely overhauled in this vein too. Instead of the typical Minecraft hearts and hunger, you get clean and stylized bars representing your health, stamina, and mana. Something I also noticed, when you play as the rogue, there's no fall damage, which is pretty sick. Very much complements the fast-paced and combat-driven experience, without having to worry about plunging into a cave and losing half your health. Which isn't to say that I didn't plunge into a cave on my first playthrough repeatedly, because I did. It was annoying. Speaking of the caves though, the world itself is beautifully atmospheric. I've reviewed a lot of biomods in the past and I can't say I've seen many that look like these. They're a delight to run through. Environmental ambience adds a lot to them too. Birds chirping away in trees, wind gusts, and even just the sound of you and your pals' feet thumping against the grass really makes the world feel alive. The same can be said for the custom music. You don't often see mod packs with their own soundtracks, and the fact that this one goes the extra mile to do that is impressive. Really lends a lot to the mod pack's unique identity, along with the title art. The effort is very much appreciated. At night, swaths of enemies will spawn across the world, keeping the gameplay lively and ensuring you're never too comfortable. It makes for thrilling battles, but at times can feel a bit overbearing too. Having waves of mobs attack in intervals or smaller clusters could help keep the pacing a bit smoother, as right now it gets a bit overwhelming. It's not difficult to deal with, especially with the right class setup and meal buffs, courtesy of Spice of Life Valheim Edition. It's just kinda tedious after a while.
Please let me sleep. I'm tired.
One of the coolest additions is the inclusion of the Mind Cells mod, which acts as an excellent dungeon crawling experience to shake up your typical overworld exploration. It's the perfect place to tear through enemies and gather powerful loot, and really helps contribute to the hack and slash turn the mod pack's going for. That said, it also exacerbates the mod pack's biggest current issue by my estimation: inventory management. Between the constant loot drops from mobs and the sheer number of items you get from introductory quest rewards, your inventory fills up quickly. Not even your dedicated backpack can save you either. There is a recycling item for breaking down old weapons and armor, which is awesome, but it doesn't cover everything. Some weapons, like certain bows, are oddly exempt from it. Expanding that recycling system to include more of these edge cases would go a long way in keeping your inventory a lot less messy. Maybe a dedicated garbage slot would be nice. Another thing that would definitely help would be combing through loot tables and the vast array of items available and outright removing some of them. I do not need all of this, bro. Why are you still making me pick up spider eyes and bones and all these weird one-off mindcell items? There's so much more important to be lugging around. This is definitely one of the most tedious parts of making a tightly knit mod pack, but I think it bears expressing here especially. A couple less items would go a long way. Of course, you don't necessarily have to deal with mob drops if you don't make a mob drop at all. Certain enemies you defeat in combat aren't killed right away, but are instead downed, giving you the option to spare them. If you do, you can recruit them into your party to fight alongside you. It's pretty cool, really reinforces the feeling of building an RPG party, even in single player. If you prefer the real party experience though, there is of course multiplayer. You'll either need to add E4MC to play with your friends, or set up a dedicated server, though there is an official PvP server available right from the in-game server list, which is pretty cool. You can even use FTB teams to join the same team in co-op and avoid accidentally hitting your allies during battle, which makes adventuring together a real romp. I've only been able to play with one other person thus far, Hi! But I'm certain getting a whole party of friends together could make for a real D&D-like adventuring time. Like that show, Adventure Time. Especially if you were to lean into that roleplay aspect the pack incentivizes through the quest and class systems. Oh yeah, there are quests! You get to choose between several different playstyles and tailor the game to your preferred build. Whether that's the heavy-hitting, axe-wielding warrior, the agile, British-adjacent, knife-wielding rogue, try and say that 3 times fast, the probably powerful mage, I didn't play them, or even the archer for those who prefer ranged combat. I do not. Each one has its own progression and tools via their own specialized quests, and they truly help you carve out a unique sense of identity in your playthrough, especially amongst friends. You could all be separate, or you could class stack, and who doesn't love class stacking? I will say that the quest layout is a little over-engineered right now, and could be cleaned up a fair deal to be more digestible to newcomers. Perhaps the different classes could have their own quests pushed into their own categories, instead of all being bundled into the same page. I also think that customizing it a little further with distinct images and icons would add a nice degree of personalization for each class. Since so much of the rest of the pack does this to great effect, it is worth mentioning that this element, along with the rest of the pack, is still noted to be a work in progress, so hopefully feedback from this video, amongst anyone else who plays it, will be helpful for future updates. Even in spite of its fledgling state, Guild Adventures is a really impressive mod pack so far. It boldly overhauls Minecraft to create a really distinct RPG experience that I don't think you can currently find anywhere else. It's a little rough around the edges maybe, but even with those flaws, it's an incredibly fun time and is absolutely worth checking out. Speaking of distinct Minecraft experiences that are worth checking out, what if you could turn the back rooms into your own personal factory? You should check out my review of the Limor Industries mod pack right here. Thanks for watching, and I hope I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye!